Hello, everyone. I'm Sterling Carter, and this is our brand new podcast, Beyond Boundaries, Navigating Life with the Carter Brothers. And I'm Sterling Carter, and my best buddy over here, Stephen Carter.
Stephen Levi Carter, one half of the Carter Brothers. We're excited to have you guys join us today. And so excited about the guest that we have joining us today, Miss Kyra Hardwick, who we know very well. We've known for years. She's been a mentor and a coach for us personally. And has also served on a number of different boards and roles with us, and we've just been enjoying this relationship for a long time. But for you guys that don't know her very well, I have this outstanding bio that I want to take the time to read. It was probably like 30 pages long. Exactly. I tried to consolidate it to about 5, so bear with me. So I'm sure
I had to blow it up so we could actually read. We get a little bit older now.
Exactly. So Kyra Hardwick. Kyra is an operational leader and consultant, integrating teams and developing process delivery methods within organizations. She's a highly developed, strategic and analytical. She has highly developed and strategic and analytical skills with the ability to train and or implement on multiple levels successfully. Skill to identify profit protection and efficiency opportunities within the infrastructure of an organization. She's an effective communicator with a knack for developing cohesive and productive teams. Kyra's cross-functional experience provides a broad spectrum approach to addressing opportunities within an organization, creating a delicate balance between people, process, and productivity, delivering strategic methodology and establishing buy-in as needed, leveraging the ability to develop a network and operate as a collaborative leader, transparency and understanding the necessity to cultivate alliances and resources internally, externally, and lending itself to the development of loyal and committed partnerships. She's a proven operational leader, powered to lead strategically and effectively, balancing people, processes, and profitability. All of that saying is that Kyra is an amazing leader, and when it comes to balancing multiple priorities, there's no one else that we know better at that. So
exactly.
Oh my goodness!
And I should say she's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Absolutely.
Which is an amazing thing. We're
all these few others in the world.
Exactly, the fraternities and sororities. But Kyra, please.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, excellence is the only option for me. But I will say this: that long bio is so funny when I hear it, because I'm like, really, you could boil it down into like 3 words. I focus on people, process, profitability. I've heard it a million times.
Yes,
but just being a people builder, right? And so we're going to talk about breaking some boundaries and managing life. I think
exactly.
My professional career was probably developed because of my personal, personal background and how I came into this space. So I'm excited to have the conversation with you guys. We definitely have a lot of history.
We do.
This will be a fun conversation. So I'm ready to go on the journey.
Let's do it. So the topic, of course, today is how we master work-life balance. And tell us a little bit about your life and what you're dealing with and how you make it all work.
Absolutely. So where do I start? This is a great one. I wasn't, to give it to this way. So formally, I was 23 years married, right? Divorced now about 5.5 years. Mm-hmm. And I would say, okay, I'm a single mom, but I feel like that doesn't do the role of a single mom justice, because I became a single mom while my kids were a lot older. So a lot of the dynamics I didn't have to go through, right? Okay. But becoming an entrepreneur, in that process, my kids only know me as a business owner. So they know me as kind of this work hard, I eat what I kill. They watch the car leave, watch it come home, And in COVID, I think that was one of the best stories I could really have ever curated in my household, watching my kids. So I have 3 children. I have an adult son who lives out of state. I'm a graduate of the Jackson State University.
Yes, you.
I have a daughter, a college student, now first year at Howard University.
No, that's
you.
Howard. Okay.
So we are officially representing the HBCUs of the world.
Yes.
And then I have my 14-year-old, soon to be 15, and he and I are like bosom buddies. We're besties, and he is loving being the only child right now.
Yes.
So when you think about balancing, so whether I'm in Mississippi, DC, or moving around with him in his basketball circuit, I think for me, finding balance has really been about just making sure that I've strongly invested where my kids really want to soar so that the time is well spent. So we're going to start there with just thinking about like, how can I spread myself that thin? Raising or supporting and encouraging and guiding an adult child.
Yes.
That's a whole nother podcast. I need to have that. Right. And then helping a transitioning, young adult, a young lady. This is my only girl. Like I have boy, girl, boys.
Yes.
So this is my baby girl. She's like miles and miles away from me. And we have to talk on a regular, but she's doing amazing.
That's
and
great.
So just encouraging her through the process of learning people, getting her grades, staying focused. She's in a very focused program in performing arts. And so her community is really tight. So that's always very good. So for me, it's been about me not being too emotional about one way or the other, People were asking me, like, how are you doing? Like, your daughter's going to college. I'm like, well, when that boy went to college, that was the one because he was my trial and error baby.
Yeah. So that's a good point. He's the first.
I messed up everything with him. and that young man is getting it,
That's
but
great.
He saw me in corporate and then he saw me transition. So he probably has the greatest perspective, and vantage point. So now I actually can call him in. You talk about kind of balancing act. Last year, I feel like I traveled more than I've ever traveled in my whole life. And I was looking back, like I almost had photos and I was like, how did I do this? I did this and like everything was sustained.
Right.
And then this year the travel started early. And I was like, I got to call my son in for reinforcement, right? So his dad, their dad and I balance, see every other weekend. We do all of those things. So we're responsible in that regard. But there are times where he can't meet some of my weekly travel, needs or what have you. So you got to call in your village. Yeah. So one of the probably most humbling experience was really not realizing that I couldn't hold it all anymore.
Yeah.
I can't hold it all
I love that. So what did you do?
I had to call some friends.
Yes.
I remember the first time I had to call a girlfriend and she's like, what? You're asking me? Absolutely. I'm there. Like, say less.
Like, Kyra does not ask for help.
It does not ask. And so that was the biggest thing, right? And that was humbling. Like, you want to talk about humbling. I was like, oh my God. So she's going to be in my house with my kids. How's this work? She's leaving her family, just coming over here. Like, you have all that. And then as it gets easier, I have some girlfriends. I'll say, hey, can you swing by, grab him for me? I'll meet you over here. I've got to do this. So when you start thinking about, and I love when I first started, people were like, you're everywhere. You're always in the right places. I'm very intentional about my time when I'm networking or coordinating business. But I'm also very intentional about my kids.
Yes.
And I do know this. I've heard this. When I have a girlfriend, she says this. She's like, I'm not trying to be a phenomenal mom. I don't want the Parent of the Year award.
Okay.
She's like, I'm really trying to be an amazing businesswoman. Yeah. And when she said that, I was just like clutching my pearls. Like, whoa, who admits that as a woman? And then I thought about it. And I was like, well, which one do I want? Or do I have to choose?
Great question.
And so I started trying to make a decision around that. And I did decide that I didn't want to choose.
Okay.
And I didn't want to choose, and I wanted to bring my kids along the journey, which meant I was going to have to be very transparent with them, especially now that it's just mom on a regular basis. What does that look like? So it kind of looks like I put whiteboards up so they can see the action that's happening, right? Not just see me in business. I wanted them to see, oh, we got a new client. Oh, this is why mom is flying to the East Coast. This is why mom is flying to the West Coast. Or I'm going to go support a client because this client is a household name. They know if I say I got to go do something with the Carter brothers, we're clear. We've been in work, working together for a long time. We understand the importance of that name, right?
Right.
And so when you start to embed them in the flow, they'll appreciate it. And I'm not doing it so that one day one of my kids can take the mantle and be the CEO of the organization. They can if they want it, but I'm doing it so that they can be involved and that they don't grow up and be amazing adults with this resentment about a parent that was so busy that she never looked up to see them. And I just don't want that to be the case.
So many questions. Great. You're ready for this topic.
I'm ready.
So tell me this, Kyra. Tell me about a day in the life for Kyra Hardwick. Ooh. So you're talking about all these things that you have going on. How do you manage your day? Like, what does a regular work day look like?
I have for years maintained what I call, or what we know to be the best in the world process in the morning. It's 1 hour. That first hour is mine. 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. It's me and God. It's me and my body. And then it's me and prep for my work day. So that's the first thing. I have to see about me first. And in doing that, my family understands it. So sometimes I'm turning on my favorite Gap Band song. It's nothing like hearing that car rip. Gotta get up early in the morning. We turn that on and we know it's time to get going for the day.
Okay.
And we do it. So day in the life, we get in that car. We have prayer every morning on the way to school. That was whether I was taking my daughter to high school and my son to middle school. Well, not just my son to high school. We've been doing that for years. We pray every morning. We don't interrupt that time. I don't take calls during car time with the kids unless it's an emergency. Once they're dropped off, then I can start having other conversations, or I'm reinvesting. I'm listening to a podcast. I'm learning something. I love to learn. So in order for me to have something to put out, I got to have something to put in. So that's part of my day every day. I'll add this fun caveat, right? Now that I'm single, not single anymore, and dating, and then dating seriously, you got to make time for that too.
Sure.
Because now that person wants some of that intimate time. And so for me, I've been really learning how to, okay, well, maybe I'll only listen to 30 minutes of a podcast and you can have the other 30.
Right.
And so now I'm starting to share my time a little bit differently. But that's good for me because it keeps balance, right?
Right.
You look around and my house is going to be empty and I'm going to be looking around trying to figure out what to do. Like, who's taking me out this weekend? You know,
right.
So that's a part of it. So that's really that morning. And then my day starts. Really, my team is amazing.
Okay.
We block my day.
Sure.
And so when I say block it, meaning it's well managed. My day starts at 9. My first active meeting in front of my computer is at 9 or out in the field. And then our goal is to always make sure my day stops somewhere around 2:30 to 3. And that's when I go get my son. In between there, I'm answering whatever phone calls for whatever kid that's calling in via FaceTime with no consideration for my calendar. And then in the evenings, there's a block. It's now, here's the full confession. That block is supposed to be for me to cook.
Okay.
Like from 3 to 5. Like I'm supposed to get in there and rattle some pans.
But you're using DoorDash. Tell the truth.
I mean, let's be clear. When I get to the house, I'm like, "Oh, we eating tonight." Okay, it's gonna be on the porch when we get home. But it's sometimes I cook, sometimes I don't. But that is time where if my son has a question, if I want to talk to my girlfriends, if I just want to do nothing, then I have time to just reset because I've been going hard. So when we think about that compression, that's less than 8 hours.
Right.
I'm compressed.
Yeah.
But I work hard during that compression.
Yeah.
And so for me, Monday through Wednesday, I work the hardest. Thursday, I start to taper off. Friday, that's my day to reset and do some things that are a little more creative. And so that's how I block my life. Now my weekends, I mean, you know, it's sorority stuff, it's stuff with the friends, it's stuff with the games and things like that. And sometimes it's work.
Yeah.
You know, and the brand, you never stop building a brand.
Yeah.
You never stop building yourself. And so sometimes there's some things you want to do. I'm all for a full day at the spa.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all for getting out in the morning and getting some of that really beautiful fresh air and getting some miles in. But I mean, that's how I live. That's the cycle.
I love it.
You know, so it's hopscotch for somebody that what do you call it? Double dutch for somebody that's trying to get in. But that's my system.
That's interesting. I was sharing with Sterling a new book that we've been reading. 10x is better than 2x.
Yes.
And a really powerful book, but it reminded me of something that you were saying because the concept is that you do more with less, right? Because you're now focused on the things that really matter.
That's it.
And so when you talk about that compressed time scale, like somebody else out in the audience may say, well, I work 10 hours a day and I still don't get it all done. But the focus you have in that compressed time is only the things that matter. The 20% that's going to get 80% return.
100%.
You know, and that's how you get it done. Because I was thinking, my question for you is that share some jewels about things that you've learned though throughout that process. So when I think about that work-life balance, right, there are times when the balance is off.
Yes.
Because you have to adjust. Maybe something is on fire at home, and it means that you have to shut down everything else to focus on home, or something's on fire at work. And so sometimes it doesn't. The balance ain't balancing.
It doesn't.
So tell us a little bit about what are some jewels that you kind of learned along the way.
I'm gonna be very honest. I pray hard, you guys, every day because, and especially when I realized like the awareness that I was like, oh wait, I'm actually doing this by myself now. Like I don't have a backup team member to call that's excited about that phone call anymore.
Right.
So it is about having very clear communication with my kids. If I know I've got to have something heavy, I'll tell them, guys, this is what today's going to look like. I'm not going to be home at this time. When I come to get you, be ready because I got to pick you up, drop you off, and I got to move. Or we're going to have to coordinate the moms to get you ready to be. So that's one side of it.
Okay.
The dirty side people don't show you. And then the other thing is the fires with the kids. Somebody's sick. Somebody's, not having a good day. The breakdowns happen, right?
Yeah.
I stop everything. Yeah. And that means sometimes I'm calling my chief of staff and I'm saying, hey, I need you to redirect my day. And it doesn't happen often. Mm-hmm. So when it does happen, we all are clear that this is an emergency and we move. So I would say that's really what I do. I feel like there was a recent scenario and I was kind of pocketing it. I can't remember right now for this conversation where life really did show up. And actually this just happened. I had to travel and do some strategic work with the team. And my son came into town. This is when I actually enlisted him. So not only did he come into town, but the inevitable happened. So he's driving my car while he's in town, which is fine. But he actually hits a pothole.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So he hits a pothole. Not only does he hit a pothole, get a flat tire, but he gets the tire fixed. He finds out the rim's broken.
Yeah, been there.
You see what I'm saying? So this is my son who's like, oh, I never want to let my mom down. I want my mom to know that she can trust me. Like, do your thing, Mom. You're going to do your thing.
Exactly.
And so, actually, I was in Florida. And so I was too far to turn around, so to speak. And he really struggled with that. Like, I don't want to let her down.
Right.
But that speaks to how tight our relationships are.
Great.
I'm not super dominant like that. It's just that I'm trusting him with all of it.
Sure.
And that was a big deal for him. And so I'm on the phone in between. I was moderating some things or what have you. So I'm on the phone in between sessions, stepping out, keeping it all together because all eyes are on you because you're on stage. And then helping to coach him, helping him navigate it, and then figure it out. And it got resolved. It was fine. He picked me up from the airport like nothing ever happened.
Right.
But that was hard for him.
Yeah.
Because I understood that meant Mom trusted me, and I know how hard she's working. Like, see, he gets it. And I kind of messed it up. And I didn't want him to walk away with that kind of, struggle on his mind. But I did want him to get whatever the lessons were.
Yes.
So we had some teachable moments in there for a young adult. But outside of that, he brought he and his little brother a lot closer. Their dad is here. He was able to step in and support him to help them maneuver because it kind of impacted his ability to move around. But that was the worst thing, I've been out of the country and been like, oh Lord, I just don't want the phone call, right? That I've got to get back on an urgent flight. And I'm just grateful that has not been my story.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I was thinking about just what you were saying. And Sterling, I know you can relate to this, as a female, as a woman, as a mom, the parenthood responsibility, no matter what we say, always falls back on you.
Preach.
And so as an entrepreneur, you're not only a CEO of your business, but you're CEO of your household.
Yes.
And so it all falls back. I know for my girls, it doesn't matter what's happening. They're going to call their mom first.
Yes.
By the time they call me, it's already figured out and resolved because they always call me. So
that's
she
real.
has that. So it's like as you as a woman, you have a different level of balancing when it comes to family because that word falls on you.
And let me give you this. Did you have another question?
No, I was just going to make a comment. You go ahead.
Yeah, listen, let me give this. So this is the side. You asked me the question about my day. The backside I didn't share. So by the time I'm ready, once the house is quiet, my journaling is what keeps me sane.
That's important.
Yeah.
Because what you just rattled off made me almost want to start crying because sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm overloaded. And sometimes I'm like, this is a lot. Like if I actually stop to think about the lives I'm responsible for.
Yeah.
Have you ever just stopped and thought about your payroll?
Exactly. It's a lot of responsibility.
You will hyperventilate.
Exactly.
And I don't. Yeah. I'm just like, Lord, I know you have it from provision end to end. I'm not going to worry about it. And so I learned how to not worry about money because money drives a different set of emotions in you, right? So if you want to really get down to the brass tacks on this thing, I learned how to not let money drive me.
Yeah.
Whether I had a lot of it or a little bit of it, whatever was needed, it covered what needed to be covered.
I love it.
And so for me, I had to learn how to give money its role, which is to listen to me. I assign money its role. So that was one of the first things. But that helped me take a lot of the other pressures that were triggered by that off. So now when I hit my head when my head hits the pillow, I can journal my emotions out because I'm an emotional girl and I can put them out there and share them and go back and read them and see how I'm behaving, right? What's happening. And then if you toss and there are moments where I really just want to give it up and cry sometimes. And sometimes I do. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I do.
Right.
Because it's the pressure is real. But if I don't let it out, I don't want to spew it on my clients. I don't want to spew it on my kids. I want to spew it on my partners. I want it to go where it's supposed to go, where it can be addressed or fixed. So to answer that question, most days are really good, but I'm telling you, it's because I talk to God all day. But there are moments, where I could say some words that might surprise a few.
Not Kyra.
No, I can't even believe that.
Okay, so to our viewers, so many great nuggets here. First thing I just want to mention is, did y'all hear that Kyra has a chief of staff? I don't know if y'all heard that or not. But I thought
Biden has a chief of staff.
I mean, who has a chief of staff? That's pretty crazy in itself. But so many great nuggets, and I just want to make sure we mention a few of those. One, trust, transparency, and communication when it comes to parenting. Believing in a higher power, which allows us to kind of let go of some things and allows us to manage.
Absolutely.
But also management, scheduling is so important, because as entrepreneurs, if we're going to try to manage everything, we have to schedule it. We have to be able to look at our schedule and say, this is what we're going to do. Focus, right? Absolutely. Remember what Kyra's saying is that there's points and times when nothing else matters except for her car time with her kids. And then prioritizing, right? Steven, we talked about the 10x is better than 2x, but we always say to entrepreneurs, what is your value worth? What is your hourly rate worth, right?
Right.
Typically,
it's absolutely.
$250 to $500 an hour is what we're worth as CEOs. So if you're doing something that's under that value, then you need to delegate that.
Absolutely.
Use your time more wisely so you can get the value out of it, that 20% that provides 80% of the effort, right? So great stuff.
I had one other thing that I pulled from what Kyra was saying that I really thought was important for you guys, and that's incorporating your village in the workload.
Yes.
Like she was talking about, she shared with her family, brought them in so they knew the travel schedule, they understood the priority levels, because you have to have a village that understands. There's going to be times when that balance is off, but when everyone knows that we're working towards a higher vision goal and we're all in it together, we can work it together. So I love that piece too.
Perfect. Yeah. So many questions that we can ask, but you've done this before, obviously, because I think everything that we plan to ask you answered. We so love spending time with you, Kyra. It's just always love. But if you could tell us about probably maybe your favorite book that you're reading right now, or a book that you'd recommend to those entrepreneurs and future entrepreneurs out there.
Ooh, so a couple of really good books. Flow is one for sure.
Oh, yes.
Something I've read like the last month probably 3 times. I'll withhold the explicit, but it's Rich as F.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one.
And it's so good. I sent it to my daughter, and she was like, "Oh my God, Mom!" Right. Sometimes I think I'm such a prim and proper, and then they're like, and I'm like, no, come on. You guys see me walking around here in my Crocs. Come on now. But that book is really good. And it really just speaks to mindset. And so if you can get beyond some of your hangups, if you have them.
Sure.
But the author kills it in the space of mindset when it comes to money and entitlement. And she shifts the thought process, our theories around what entitlement really is and how you position yourself. And I know I can say for certain that as a woman, I probably would not have acquiesced to that if I wasn't an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
If I was in corporate, because you kind of live in a different, more rigid space. But I have a lot of freedom and a lot of ambiguity. Another book. All right, now I'm going to give away a secret to my ladies.
To the ladies.
Get ready.
To the ladies. This is a secret. And actually, it came from a guy.
Okay.
We were having a conversation, and I think he realized that I had mastered this.
Okay.
And he was just like, have you read this book? And I was like, I actually haven't read the book. I just know I embody it because I'm very feminine. And I'm so good with being a boss that is very feminine.
Okay.
And I'm saying that because we know that's a challenge sometimes for a lot of women, because we have to pull that masculine strength out to do the work sometimes. But I leverage my femininity, my ability to flick my hair and smile, because that actually empowers me.
Yes.
It lowers the threat in the room. And if you establish great boundaries in relationships, and you can manage it, ladies, And so The Art of Seduction.
Yeah.
The Art of Seduction.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Simple book.
And I can see that, because what Steven and I and some of our friends say all the time, sorry guys, is that women just don't understand how much power they have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If they understood the power that they have, they could run. You guys probably already do, but run the world. And so, yeah, I love it.
I mean, that, there's some other books, ladies, go to my personal page. No. But that is a real thing, because when you understand the power of that, and I will say, I've for a long time in my career, I worked in a very male-dominated environment. So working with men has never been something I've been afraid of.
Okay.
I've just learned how to establish boundaries. Like, as a married woman, you would learn how to establish boundaries working with men. There's a seal around you if you do this thing right, and you have to learn how to say what needs to be said in a way. And then women interacting with men, there is something about the male ego you have to protect if you want your relationships to be strong.
Sure.
Because that we can go.
That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yes.
But you have to learn how to do that without emasculating, and because you might be in more of an authoritative role.
Right.
I've led men. I work with them.
Yeah.
So, when I got into entrepreneurship, I know this was not the question, but I want to share this. This might be really helpful.
Okay.
One of the things I was very amazed by was how many men and how many couples were drawn to me as clients.
Okay.
And that was really assuring to me. That meant I had done my packaging, my messaging, and I had a reputation and the characteristics of someone that they could trust.
Okay.
Because when you have a woman come to you and say, I need my husband to work with you, and I know for a fact I'm not too shabby when it comes to the eyes.
Right.
So,
You said for a fact.
you know what I'm saying?
We agree.
Yeah.
I'm clear. Like, my daddy told me, girl, you cute.
Yeah, exactly.
And my mama said, girl, your looks will run out one day, so make sure you got something in your head,
Exactly.
So I understood the packaging, right? But then I also understood how to create the boundaries that establish respect.
Absolutely.
And that was really important to me. And I didn't know I was doing that until till others shared it back with me.
Right.
But that's why the book, The Art of Seduction, is really important, because if you understand the power that you have as a woman, then you understand how to manage yourself as a woman. There's some things you don't have to do to get what you need.
That's right.
So should a man read that book so they understand when they're being seduced?
I mean, everybody has a Jedi mind trick. There's kryptonite for everybody. But you should read it. The gentleman that introduced me to it, we were having a conversation about dating. And not he and I, but just in general, talking about relationships. And it was just really cool, because he was just like, and I'm going to use this. This is powerful. This has actually changed my world a little bit. He was like, when we make decisions about our mate, we're making destiny decisions. Right. That's, I almost flew back in my chair, and I was like, I know that, but hearing it in that moment was so empowering. I mean, I cleared my roster, like, everybody's off, because you're not destiny, boo, you gotta go. And then it creates room for destiny to show up.
Absolutely.
And so understanding the art of seduction is about understanding how to take and manage your agency as a woman. We have a lot of things that we could leverage, but understanding how to do that is important. And the first thing you should be doing is thinking about how you manage what's between your ears specifically, and use your intellect to maneuver, in life. And I think that's a huge conversation we can definitely get to, but that's a part of balance too.
Yeah.
Right? Because it could have gone a lot of different ways, becoming single while I'm in entrepreneur space, right? But understanding my agency and how I wanted to be seen and known and what my morals and values are really helped to guide my ability to manage as well. So, great question. Yeah, great question.
Amazing. So we could just keep going.
We could, but we have to ask you one last thing before we wrap it up, because I think it's important for the audience to know about the Kyra Company.
Yes.
And what you guys are doing and how they could possibly benefit from it, and vice versa.
Great. You know what? We didn't start with that.
Exactly.
That's how refreshing. So I am a managing consultant for the Kyra Company, a full service business development firm. So we build businesses focusing on your infrastructure. Again, I'll go back to people, process, profitability models. Our goal is to make sure that you have a sustainable infrastructure that builds and consistently does that. And so your revenue will continue to flow. We help businesses scale up. So small to mid-sized organizations that are working inside the supply chain, that are really looking to work and do more corporate and federal contracting. Our goal is to make sure that you have a sturdy infrastructure. So we're leading your people, helping the CEOs create that space for that COO. Most of our clients are not COO ready, and so we show them how to do that. We have programs and all kinds of things we do with our clients to make sure that we run accelerators and supplier development programs, some things that we've added as of late, and then excited to share we've really jumped into the cybersecurity and health services realm. And so you'll start to see our firm evolve just as I'm evolving. And so, your net worth really is your net worth.
Absolutely.
Your network really is your net worth.
Yes.
And so as you grow and as you evolve and take on more risks and challenges, you grow. And so I'm excited about it, and 10X is what we do plan to do this year.
I love it.
Yeah, we're going to keep building.
Awesome. Well, guys, we appreciate this time with Miss Kyra, and I hope that I know that you guys have grabbed some amazing jewels from this time.
Yes.
And, this is one you guys either just tape and record and just play over and over and over again. So many jewels. But again, thank you, Kyra, for your time. We know how busy you are. And it's always a pleasure to speak with you and get those. Luckily, we have her on the speed dial, so you can call her on that.
We're in the top 5.
Exactly. We used to be number 1, but now we top 5.
We're 6 and 5. It flips back and forth.
Right.
But we just wanted to tell you guys, want you guys to remember that with each step beyond boundaries, you redefine what is possible. So navigate your life with passion, purpose, and determination. Signing out with the Carter Brothers. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys.